Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Kahora. I am 29 years old and I'm from Africa. Now, 3 years ago, give or take, in 2023, I emigrated to Southeast Asia and I now live and work here. And probably it was one of the best decisions of my life. For some context, I don't really come from a rich background. I'm just, as you can even see, my house is just like a normal looking apartment type. So I didn't come from a rich background. So coming here to Southeast Asia, I was able to get better work. And for the first time in my adult life or in my life in general, I was doing well, you know. But I was only doing well in one specific regard, only in one thing, you know? And that's what I kind of want to talk to you about because last year, 2025 was perhaps one of my most challenging years. Now, nothing dramatic happened, nothing crazy. I definitely don't want to be dramatic. My life didn't explode. But what I mean by this is that in one area, financially, I was doing like the best that I've ever been. Like it was my best year ever. I was earning the most amount of money that I've ever earned in my life. And mind you, I'm not talking about millions. I'm not a rich person, I'm an average person. So the amount that I'm talking about for someone else, that's chump change. That's probably what they spend on lunch, or it's not a large amount of money to them. But for me, coming from where I come from, it's a good amount of money. For the first time in my life, or for the first time in a long time, I could pay my rent comfortably. I had surplus money at the end of the month. I had disposable income. I could eat well, I could live well. I wasn't worrying about any kind of bills. I had health insurance, like financially I was doing pretty good. But here's the thing that I want to talk about, and this is a message that is mostly for younger men. Older men have definitely figured this out. I'm not very old, I'm not particularly wise, but I'm hoping that the experiences that I'm about to share, or the things that I'm about to share, will help a younger man, someone in his late teens, 19, 18, someone in his early 20s, right, who hasn't yet had their life experiences to have gone through this. And so the thing I want to say is there are 6 areas of a man's life, or 6 areas of a person's life, that if you are doing well in, at least, or you are much more well-rounded in all these 6 areas, like it increases your odds of happiness, it increases your odds of you becoming a better person. More or less, you're on the right track, Because like I said, last year, I was only doing well financially, but in most of the other 5 remaining areas, I wasn't doing well at all. So I've already told you the first area, which is finances, right? As a man, as a person, especially in today's world, you really need to be doing well financially. Like there's a certain baseline where if you haven't reached, you're really not going to be happy. You're really not going to be where you are in a position where you're happy or you're satisfied. So financially, and I think this is the most visible, this is what almost society tells us to a large degree to aim for. Like you should be doing well financially. And some people are told that sacrificing like their health or sacrificing their social connections, for the sake of this one area is okay. I mean, if to a degree it might be true, if you need to get it out of the mud, quote unquote, if you're broke, if you're in a dire situation, then yes, that kind of makes sense. But once you start getting to certain stages, then you need to be well-rounded. So the second area, and this one's very important, and this one is where I was really struggling last year. Like I was doing terribly in this one particular area, which is emotionally. Especially for a man, you need to be in a place where you are emotionally grounded, where things don't really move you or sway you, where you are emotionally stable. And one of the important things that I want to talk about here is emotional regulation. Some people are really good at this. God bless them. Like some people are just emotionally stable. They intuitively know how to emotionally regulate. But for some people, especially if you score high in neuroticism, if you are an anxious individual by nature, this one's going to be difficult for you. Or if you are the kind of person who often wants a lot of control, this one's going to be difficult for you. Emotional regulation. So I'm going to make another video about this because it's very important, emotional regulation. But this was the core reason as to why I was doing very badly in terms of the emotional side of my growth and my life. So financial, number one, very important, and I'd also rank emotional as number 2. Okay? Number 3, let's talk about the facet of a man's life or a person's life, which is their physical, their physical side, their physical facet. Now, most of last year, I was working out regularly. I was going to the gym, I was strong. I was in the best physical condition of my life. So I can't really complain too much about that. So financially and to some degree, physically, I was doing well. But there might be someone watching this video and maybe financially you're okay, maybe emotionally you're okay, but physically you're a wreck. Perhaps you're overweight. Perhaps you're having health issues, Perhaps you're not just satisfied. Perhaps you're not strong. And the one thing that I want to say mostly about this is in terms of your body, especially men, you need to be strong. I won't sugarcoat it. You need to be strong, okay? Visibly and realistically. Like going to the gym, and this goes for me as well. Let me actually stop here and say that I'm not coming here from the perspective of someone who is doing well in all these areas, someone who has reached all these things that we're talking about. I'm actually working on a lot of these things. Yeah, all of them. I'm working hard, and I'm average to below average in all of them. The only reason I'm making this video is not because I've made it, or it's not because I want to lecture people or be a hypocrite. It's because I've had the life experiences that have given me an awareness that a man needs these 6 areas to develop. And like I said, I'm not the oldest, I'm not the wisest, but there might be someone who's 19 years old. You're probably just joining the workforce now. The realities and the pressures of adulthood are now becoming real in your life. They are now manifesting in your life. And maybe this video might be of use to you. That is why I'm making this video, okay? I'm definitely nowhere close to this ideal. I've lost weight for some personal reasons, I was much more muscular than this. But that being said, I want to say that your physical condition really matters, especially for men. Once you get into workplaces, if you are someone who's in shape, someone who's fit, you get a lot more respect. And this helps you get the things that you want out of life. This helps you attain and reach your goals. So it's something very, very important, It also preserves your health. It increases your self-confidence. When you look good, it increases your self-confidence, and that's something great to have, okay? And it helps you in a lot of areas in life. It really does. If you're in a place in your life where maybe it's gonna be some years until you're financially where you wanna be, perhaps you're already emotionally stable, you know how to emotionally regulate, definitely chase those gains, okay? Start working out, go to the gym, start calisthenics, work a job, that's gonna get you in shape. If you're overweight, if you're dealing, like if you're a person who you're overweight, you have a high percentage of body fat, I highly recommend walking. Walking is an absolute fat burner. You combine walking somewhere like 10 to 15,000 steps a day, and your diet is also in check. Oh my God, the pounds are gonna shed off your body. And I know for someone it might be difficult. I think people on average right now, we do about 3,000 to 4,000 steps. Even I sometimes have those kind of days. Like I said, I'm not the ideal here. I'm just sharing a message that I've had to learn the hard way. So I would recommend, if you're there now, just focus on slowly and consistently increasing, like, yeah, your output. Start with a 10-minute walk every day, 10-minute brisk walk. Increase it to 15, increase it to 20, increase it to 30, that way, and you're gonna get there. So, number one, financial. A man needs to have his money right. Number two, emotional, so important. You need to be emotionally regulated, emotionally stable. And this one is very attractive to women as well. And number three, physical. Yeah, please get in shape. If you're overweight, please find ways to do this, And I know it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Like right now, the kinds of foods that give us health problems and make us overweight, they're so prevalent, they're so easily accessible by design. So I don't want to be excessively harsh on anyone, like especially if you are younger, But now that you have the realization, you also have the responsibility to make a change. Okay, number four. This one's really important to me, but at the moment, due to several circumstances and factors in my life, I'm not doing too well in this, and that is social. Like, we are social beings. We human beings, we are social creatures. We are social animals, We need each other. We need to have friends. We need to have people we can rely on. And one thing I want to mention here is that quality, when it comes to your social life, quality matters over quantity. It's much better for your social life to have more meaningful connections, more meaningful friendships than to have many shallow or many not as meaningful connections and friendships. It usually boils down to that, because especially as you start getting older into your 30s and late 20s, you start losing friends, and just from how life works, and it becomes harder to make friends. So most adults, they have like only a couple of friends at most. For many people, especially with the modern society we live in. But the good news is you don't have to have dozens of people in your friend group. It's great if you do, it's great if you do, but it's more about having more meaningful connections in your life. Having people who you can trust, having people who have your back, who you can talk to, you can have real conversations with, who you have a deep connection. Even 2 or 3 kinds of people like that, yeah, your social life is gonna be good. So if you're in your late teens, if you're in your early 20s, be warned, you are gonna lose friends as you get older. It's inevitable. Like for most people, that's just how life works. You find that people drift, some people get families, some people move away, I told you I emigrated from my home country, and there are people who we used to be close friends, and now by no fault of anyone, we barely talk anymore because of the realities of adulthood. Everyone's busy. People have things that require their time and energy, and friendships just fall by the wayside. And here's the thing about friendships. Friendships are not passive things. Friendships require active effort, especially at this late 20s and above, and even farther, Friendships really take effort. There's this Gen Z thing about being nonchalant, yeah. Like, I don't care that much. It's like, what else? Okay, sure. Maybe it makes you look cool. but it also means you don't form deeper connections, you know. People like people who know like them back. It's a hack, you know. So you have to make efforts, you have to make plans. If there's a friendship that really matters to you, if there's a connection that really matters to you, you have to put in effort to keep it alive. That's how these things work, okay? Yeah. So that's all I want to say about the social aspect of a man's life or a person's life. Next, I want to talk about an intellectual, like the intellectual aspect of a man's life. This is the fifth one, and this one's also important. Now, lucky for me, I've kind of always been strong in this one level since childhood. I've always been very curious. I've always been kind of rational in how I make decisions and how I see things. And I want to say this. Human beings, we are very emotional people. We tend to think that we are rational and logical, but in reality, we are very emotional. We make decisions mostly based on emotions. You know, we live our lives day to day, mostly based on emotions: fear, anger, envy, jealousy, happiness, sadness, anxiety, you know. So that's why you have to develop your intellectual side, especially in terms of things like recognizing biases. Okay? You have to know that as human beings, we don't operate logically, but rather we have certain biases that strongly influence how we see the world and how we make decisions and how we interact with others. And the important thing about the one valuable thing about bias recognition is that it helps us to identify the truth, it helps us to recognize manipulation, and it helps us to improve decision making. These things will really help you. Perhaps you are in your late teens. Excuse me. Perhaps you are in your late teens. You have decisions about, should I go to school? What course should I study? What career should I start? Should I take this job? Should I do this? Should I do that? So having the ability to make better decisions using logic and intellect, it's really gonna save you pain. It's gonna save you time. It's gonna save you from having to learn from mistakes, you know. And some ways you can do this if you are not naturally strong in this, because we are all different, man. Some people have very high emotional intelligence, some people have very high social intelligence, and some people have high rational intelligence, if that's a thing, you know. So if you're not naturally good at this, I highly recommend reading books. Number one, read books, okay? Read psychology books, read self-improvement books, read books by leaders, you know. Read books that help you and improve you, okay? Also regulate the kind of content that you watch, you know, because the kind of content that you watch, oh my God, it really has such a huge influencing factor in shaping your mind, shaping your outlook on life. So especially now in my current age, 29, I try not to, I say that like I'm very old, but anyway, I try not to watch nonsensical stuff anymore, you know. I used to like a lot of memes, I used to like vines, you know. I just loved things that would make me laugh out loud, you know. But these days, I am trying to be very conservative and to be very intentional about what I watch. We are inundated with content in the age that we live in right now. Oh my God. Like in my house, I have like 5 devices, you know. At any time, you can just get into anything. You can get distracted for hours on end, you know. And the stuff that you're watching, sure, it might be entertaining, it might be distracting you from your problems, but it's also dumbing down your mind. So the same smartphone, the same tablet, the same laptop that you can go down a rabbit hole of distractions and endless fun can also be utilized as a tool to make your mind sharper. YouTube and the internet and Facebook and all these things, they are full of people who will give you knowledge and skills for free. But you have to make that decision, okay? The decision lies with you. So please, my dear viewer, please, whoever you are, spend time. Spend time developing your intellectual side, especially when it comes to decision making. And right now, let me tell you the thing about the modern life we live in right now. There are many powers, there are many people, there are many organizations, many whatevers that are out to influence you, influence how you think, influence how you behave, how you spend your money, how you raise your kids, who you become. And some of them don't have the best of intentions. Okay? So by developing your intellectual side, by learning to tell truth from lies, you help safeguard yourself and the people around you. So this is a very important skill for a man. I have friends who I look up to because they are confident, they're charismatic, they're good looking, they're good with the ladies. Everyone likes them, you know. But you look at if this person shares with you some of their beliefs, how they make decisions, etc., you find that it's really lacking. And it's definitely not the worst aspect to be doing poorly in. Sometimes being smart, sometimes being intelligent is a disadvantage. I'll also make another video about this soon. But I also realized that if this person had stronger intellectual skills, could kind of push the emotions aside to see things more clearly. There are things they wouldn't have to go through. There are sacrifices they wouldn't have to make. There are pains they wouldn't have to live with, you know. And sometimes in life, you know, we can reduce suffering, you know, for ourselves. You don't have to. That's the aim of this video. You don't have to learn things the hard way always. You don't have to struggle always. Okay, number 6. Oh, I am not good at this at all. And it's kind of the opposite of intellectual. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that it's also important, and that is the spiritual. I'm not an expert on this, and I don't want to speak at length about this because I'm still working on finding more and solidifying myself more when it comes to spirituality. Now, I'm not a religious person, so I'm not going to go down that side. But for sure, if you want to, you can explore spirituality through religion. Like, it's a free world, you know? So, as of now, and the limited knowledge that I have now, what I can speak about this, especially with the struggles I had last year, was for most of last year, for the whole of last year, and this was one of the crux of my problems and why it was such a difficult year for me, is that I was devoid of purpose. I had nothing higher that I was aspiring to. There was nothing outside of me that was pulling me somewhere. I was going to work, I was eating, I was drinking, I was being happy, you know, consuming a lot of alcohol, spending time with people who I shouldn't be spending time with, you know, because there wasn't a purpose in my life. There wasn't something stronger than me, something above me that was pulling me forward, making me a better person in the process. That's kind of how I'm viewing spirituality in this narrow way, but it's such a broad topic and I'm not really good at it. So, along that line, men, please, if there is only one takeaway you're gonna get from this video, from me rambling into this microphone, have a strong and clear purpose. Have something that's pulling you along, you know? Like, I wanna be this, I wanna achieve this, I wanna become this kind of person. And really understand why you want that. For me, this channel is part of my purpose, okay? Like, and purpose evolves over time. That's the thing I'm gonna say. Purpose evolves over time, you know? But as of right now, I wanna contribute something to the world. We have so many challenges right now facing all of us, and I wanna do my part, and I wanna help whoever I can. be a better person and learn from my mistakes, and we can grow better and wiser together. Okay, I've rambled enough, but in summary, there are 6 areas that a man needs to improve or a person needs to improve: financially, emotionally, physically, socially, intellectually, and spiritually. If you're well balanced in all 6 of those, you're gonna have a good life. Till next time, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. I have more videos coming out soon. So I will see you, beautiful people, next time. Bye bye.